Sosa will do the next one.
Yeah, I can knock out the vision. Canotio ISD is the premier district. We lead today to positively impact tomorrow.
CISD mission statement. Canotio ISD supports and embraces diversity in a multicultural society. Our school community thrives in a safe, engaging, inclusive learning environment. We provide equitable opportunities to ensure our future-ready students are inspired to explore, learn, grow, and excel.
Jessica, next item.
Next item is going to be item number 2, board honors. Mr. Rivera.
Mr. Bayan, members of the board, Dr. Garay, if you could join us up here in front, please. Good evening, my name is Gustavo Reveles and I'm the Director of Communications for the Canotio Independent School District, the best small district in Texas and El Paso's AAA rated school district. It's my honor tonight to be here to recognize the stellar work being done by our students and staff. We start tonight by recognizing the educators that are helping our students reach their academic goals. 6 CISD teachers were selected to participate in the first ever Innovative Educator Fellowship, a program sponsored by CREE, the El Paso Community Foundation, and the Philosophic Systems Institute. The year-long fellowship selected teachers that possess growth and learning mindsets and are eager to challenge preconceived beliefs and practices in education. Once a month, they gathered with other great teachers to reflect on the trends and design innovative and effective transformational learning experiences for their students, classrooms, and schools. Please help me welcome our Canotio innovative educators. From Reyes Elementary School, Candice Dominguez, Valeria Marivani, Alma Ramos, Marina Rubio, and Michelle Shiroma and Claudia Stafford. Mr. Clark, you want to come up for the photo? I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
You want me to take it? Yeah.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
My turn, my turn, my turn. Thank you.
It's worth noting that Celeste Trejo Garcia from Northwest Early College was also selected for this program. However, she left that position and was not able to participate. Congratulations to everyone. Innovative instruction is paying off here in Canotio ISD. Our next recognition is proof positive of that. We'd like to honor the 13 Northwest Early College students who last month received College Board National Recognition Awards for their high academic prowess in the classroom and excellent performance on the College Board assessment. The students earned the National Hispanic Recognition Award by maintaining a 3.5 GPA, excelling on the PSAT National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, or the PSAT 10, and earning a score of 3 or higher on 2 or more AP exams. That's a tough feat. Please help us congratulate our Northwest Early College scholars, Andrew Amaya, Adam Baker, Mara Abigail Garcia, Mark Gonzalez, Natalia Avila Hernandez, Yolanda Marquez, Caleb Martinez, Haitiana Mondragon, Julian Morado, Janelle Navarrete, Mr. Clark, you want to come up?
One second. And ready? 1, 2, 3. That's great.
Congratulations to all of them, their teachers, and their families. Lastly, we'd like to honor those campuses that defy the so-called learning loss of the pandemic and earned an A in this year's Texas Education Agency State Accountability Ranking. Of course, the work, along with the gains made by every student and school in the district, helped Canopio earn its third A rating, making us the only district in the region to be triple A rated. Earning an A is no easy feat. Schools must surpass student testing standards and show mastery of all tested subjects. In total, 4 campuses earned an A in Canopio. They are each proudly displaying the A-rated banner in front of their schools. Please help me welcome their leaders and communities. From Northwest Early College, under the leadership of Principal Frank Clark, please welcome the Northwest Early College community. Northwest is shy, apparently. the leadership of Principal Esteban Alvarez, San Mateo Elementary School. Mr. Alvarez, please stand if you may.
Ready? A little tighter, please. There you go. One. That's perfect.
Coach Ramirez. Coach. Coach. Come here, Coach. She's actually a counselor, her husband's a coach. Counselor of there.
Just a little closer, you're too far apart. There you go. Right up. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Under the leadership of Principal Jonathan Flores, Bill Childress Elementary School.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. If I can have you just a tiny bit closer. That's good. That's perfect. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
And last but not least, under the leadership of Principal Jessica Carrillo and earning their third A in a row as well.
Ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Please stick around. Earlier today, the El Paso City Council passed a resolution honoring the Pennsylvania Independent School District for being the only AAA rated school district. We have the flag here today. Could the principals please come up and take a photo with the board of trustees? Jessica. Mr. Flores, please.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
One more, please. Thank you.
Lastly, this is not on the agenda. It was this news came in too late to put on the agenda, but we would like to congratulate Armando Rodriguez on being elected president-elect of the PASB Board of Directors. This is the first time since the 1990s that someone from El Paso has been given this recognition. So congratulations, Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Payan, members of the board, and Dr. Galaviz, this concludes this month's board honors.
time, I would like to, with the board's consent, take a 5-minute break. Mr. Coronado should be here any minute. Thank you for your patience. So,
Priscilla.
5-minute break.
okay. 5-minute break, people. We'll be right back. Jessica, would you please hand us out?
This is the time is 5:56 p.m.
Really? Get that one?
Same color?
You'll be alright. Yeah.
Meeting is back in session, time is 6:02 p.m. Next agenda item is item number 3, open forum. Any person wishing to address the board during the period reserved for public comment at a board meeting must sign up to be heard in accordance with district policy DED local. Each participant will be limited to 3 minutes to make comments to the board. The board is not permitted to discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on the agenda for tonight's meeting. For further information on those policies, contact the superintendent's administrative assistant. For tonight, open forum, we have 5 speakers.
Okay.
First speaker will be Ms. Brianne Barnes, speaking in regards to open records requests and on the record minutes. Ms. Barnes?
Barnes, welcome.
Good evening, Board of Trustees. I would like for my speech to be on record tonight. I am coming forward with a concern in regards to transparency and accountability with our open records requests, and also people who are asking for their things to be on the record during board meetings. So number 1, I have 4 open records requests that have not been filled over a long period of time. I have 2 of them that are a month old. I have 1 that is 4 months old, and I have 1 that is 5 months old. And I have already contacted the Attorney General about this and received a letter saying that that would be taken care of, and it still has not been after numerous calls and numerous emails about it. So if we can look into that and find out, because I'm sure if it's myself, it's probably not just me, and those need to be fulfilled by law. I also have, I believe it's my speech from July and August, or maybe June and August, that I asked for them to be on the record as well, and those minutes have not been reflected as such. So if we can look into that, I do appreciate that it was mentioned at the board meeting that I brought that up, that we would address it and we would fix it, but as of right now, it has still not been published with my open records, or I'm sorry, with my things being on the record for my speech that night. So if we can resolve those for the transparency and accountability, that would greatly be appreciated. Thank you so much.
We'll certainly make every effort to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker will be Mr. Ray Baca. He will be speaking in regards to item 4C on the agenda.
Good evening. My name is Ray Baca, and I'm here to express some concern about item 4C, and for the benefit of those in the audience that may not know what that is, it's an attempt to possibly censure one of your own board members that evidently was brought forth by one of your other board members. And the reason I'm here to speak against it is because I question why the board would think that this item is worthy of your time. Your time is valuable. It should be directed to more valuable issues. You know, the issue is that the trustee rode in the homecoming parade in their own vehicle. No law was broken. There was no reason that I've been able to discern that she shouldn't have done this, but she did. So my question is, how will your response make things better for the students? No student's life will be made better by your censuring this member. You know, there's only one beneficiary that will come from this action, and that is the other board member who happens to be running against this member in a political race in 7 weeks. So it smacks of a political action to me, and this board should not be investing itself and its time in political actions such as these, at least not in my opinion. This board, like every school board, should be focused on the needs of the students. This board should be focused on what can we do to better prepare our students for the future. How do we teach them math? How do we teach them science? How do we teach them all the things that they need to succeed. So I ask again, how does this action help meet that goal? And the answer is it does not. Sadly, this board also now in today's world has to concern itself with student safety. And it has to concern itself with making sure that the students know the dangers of fentanyl. So there's lots of things you can be focusing your time and discussion and attention on that are oh so more important than whether this particular trustee rode their car in your homecoming parade. So I ask the board to consider whether this is a good use of your time. Ask the board to actually take it off the agenda and move on to a more positive use of your time. Time that will benefit the students. Use your time wisely so that when you leave here, you'll say, what we did for the benefit of the students of the school district, not for the benefit of a political candidate versus another political candidate. So please reconsider that action. Thank you very much.
Right on.
Next speaker will be Mr. Alan Herrera, speaking on family consumer sciences education.
Dr. Yadavis and board members, good afternoon. My name is Alan Herrera, and I'm currently serving as a Texas CCLA State Recording Secretary. I thank you all for letting me once again stand here and advocate for family consumer sciences education. Starting in the late 1800s, New Perkins Grant was developed for agriculture and home economics. Home economics was established during the progressive era, when industrialization, immigration, urbanization, and other social forces were prevalent in that community. Home economics was renamed Family Consumer Sciences in 1994. Family Consumer Sciences is positioned to address the social changes of the 21st century as all FCS career pathways are the field of study focused on the science and art of living and working well in a complex world. Through research, experiential education, and technology, this profession helps people develop the essential knowledge and skills to lead better lives, be work and career ready, build strong families, and make meaningful contributions to our community. There are 4 family consumer science career pathways. They are human services, hospitality and tourism, visual arts and design, and education and training. Students need many skills to be college and career ready. This includes academic knowledge, technical expertise, and employability skills. All these career pathways utilize and reinforce real-world employability skills such as communication skills, critical thinking skills, research management, leadership, teamwork, negotiation, and project management skills. All family and consumer science pathways lead to high demand, high wage employment opportunities, such as director of childcare, sociologist, social worker, psychologist, school counselor, tour company owner, hotel owner, restaurant owner, marketing manager, and much, much more. Sadly, our district is now offering only one family consumer science career pathway for our students. While we are glad that we have one career pathway available, we feel like the district could expand opportunities for its students and offer more. The Human Services Career Pathway prepares individuals for employment that relate to family and human needs. It offers rich courses such as child development and counseling mental health. In a time when our own community mental health needs are great, more professionals such as social workers, therapists, psychologists, and caseworkers are needed. The Hospitality and Tourism Career Pathway offers a whole host of employment opportunities as hospitality and tourism is the #1 employer of people in the world. Courses are directed to the management, marketing, and operations of food service, lodging, attractions, recreation, and travel-related services. People will always need a place to stay, a place to eat, and something fun for the family to do together. The Education and Training Career Pathway is the planning, managing, and providing of the education and training services. This is the only FCS career pathway currently available to our students. Think for a moment about the fact that kids learn differently. Some will require courses that use their hands to learn. If we choose only career pathways that do not offer some type of hands-on learning, how we are providing for the needs of all of our students. The last pathway is the visual arts and design, which is designing, producing, exhibiting, performing, writing, and publishing multimedia content. Potential occupations include fashion designers, interior designers, and fashion merchandisers. Thank you all for hearing. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Alex Reyes, also speaking on family, career, and community, Leaders of America.
Dr. Galavisa, board members, good afternoon. My name is Alice Reyes. I am currently the Region 1 Vice President of Membership for Texas FCCLA. Consider the following example. Imagine that Family and Consumer Sciences is the cake, FCCLA would then be the frosting on that cake. FCCLA is a national nonprofit student organization and is the only career and technical student organization with careers that support families as its central focus. FCCLA develops skills that last a lifetime, from creative and critical thinking to practical knowledge and career preparation. 77 years ago, Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, or FCCLA, formerly known as Future Homemakers of America, was founded. The idea of creating one national student organization aimed at preparing today's futures to be tomorrow's leaders in the home and in the workplace. On June 11, 2020, FCCLA celebrated its 75th anniversary and legacy of making a difference in families, careers, and communities across America. Since 1945, FCCLA has been addressing important personal work and societal issues through family and consumer sciences education. At its height, the organization's membership peaked at 607,175 members across 53 state associations. Today, more than 10 million students have been involved in FCCLA and have changed countless lives across the country, participating in national programs, competing in competitive events, exploring career pathways, and attending national conferences. FCCLA continues to be the only career and technical student organization focused on preparing youth for careers that support families and strengthen members' employability skills by preparing students to be college and career ready. Our mission is to promote personal growth and leadership development through family and consumer sciences education, focusing on the multiple roles of family member, wage earner, and community leaders. Members develop skills for life through character development, creative and critical thinking, interpersonal communication, practical knowledge, and career preparation. FCCLA engages students through career exploration and leadership development. It engages business and industry leaders to enhance opportunities for members. FCCLA empowers students to balance career and family responsibilities, develop leadership skills, practice STEM skills, and build technical skills in family and consumer science related careers. FCCLA members learn employability skills by developing teamwork, creativity, leadership, responsibility, and time management skills by practicing and demonstrating technical skills for FCS related careers, learning directly from industry professionals, and exploring opportunities to practice and develop these skills. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today, and thank you for supporting FCCLA on our campus.
Thank you.
Our last speaker is Jesus Castorena, speaking on the retirement of the culinary arts.
Good evening, board members. My daughter, Emily Castorena, my name is Jesus Castorena. She attends Canoteo High School, and last 2 years she's been taking culinary arts. She loves the class. Ever since I can remember, she loves to bake, she loves to cook, and I think it'd be a total disservice if this program gets retired. One of the things that I know that she's shared with me is that she has the opportunity to work with a special needs student that's in her classroom, and she's been able to show her leadership skills and develop other skills that she didn't think that she had. And fortunate enough, this gentleman has gravitated towards her and learned so much from my daughter, and in turn has now been able to work with other kids and not just her. But before, he was just in his own little shell. So if she didn't have the opportunity to actually take this course, she wouldn't have been able to show the type of skills that she does have now. And some of the things that she brings up to me, I'm just so very proud for her about what she's done for the class, and then also she's shown the class members, you know, how to work as a team, how to make sure that everyone's following instructions, make sure that everyone's having a part of what they're doing on a daily basis. So I think, just me personally, growing up in El Paso, one of the things that we're known for is food here in El Paso. So if we take away culinary arts, I think that's gonna be a huge disservice to the community, because then we're taking kids away from future, you know, cooks, bakers, stuff like that. So then I have 2 other kids that are coming in to Canoteo High School as well, and again, another disservice, they won't be able to take that course that she loves and shares with her kid brother and sister, her passion. So please just reconsider and see if we can keep this program.
Mr. Coronado joined the meeting at 6:15 PM.
Alright, and thank you, Mr. Plan, for, taking over for me starting the meeting. We had a trial that was supposed to be over at 5.
Apologize, sorry, thank you, Mr. Plan, for taking over, and start the meeting for me. I was in a trial that was supposed to be over at 5 and it didn't end until 5:45, so I apologize to everyone. But thank you again, and thank you, board, apologize. We are on open forum, do we have anybody? We're done, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, all right, with the board's consent, oh, yeah, apologize, Ms. Mendoza.
I would like for everyone to know that, yesterday was a birthday for a very special man in this district. His birthday was yesterday, Sergio Coronado, and I was wondering if we would be so gracious as to sing happy birthday to him. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Sergio. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the sentiment. Thank you very much, Ms. Mendoza, and everybody who sang along. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And, as we get older, we don't look forward to many of these, right? But I still feel good, so good health. I think that's the first and important thing. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. With the board's consent, can we take up the consent agenda at this time? So moved.
Second.
All right. So, anybody not in favor of taking up the board consent agenda at this time? Hearing none, Jessica?
That's motion.
I polled the board, nobody disagreed with the motion, so motion passes to do the consent agenda. All right, let's take up, the consent agenda.
Mr. Coronado?
Oh, you moved for the consent agenda?
Yes, I moved and I had seconded it right before.
Okay, I thought it was for the motion to
approve the consent agenda.
All right, I'm voting for it. Yes.
Okay, just so we're clear, so we have the motion made by Mr. Coronado, seconded by Mr. Rodriguez.
No, it was made by me, seconded by Ms.
Charles?
No, Ms. Mendoza.
I did second.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Coronado, yes? Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Bayan?
Yes.
Sorry, Mr. Bayan. Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Trout?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, motion passes. And with the board's consent, can we then take up, item 7, executive session then at this time? See it. Jessica? Jessica?
Yes, sir.
When you get a chance, can you bring me the certified agenda?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So we're moving
All right.
into executive session, item number 7, to consult with attorney under sections 551.071, 551.072, and 551.074 of the Texas Government Rules. Item 7A, discussion regarding possible sale of district-owned real estate pursuant to Texas Government Code section 551.072, time is 6:20 p.m.
Mr. Chair, I know there's people here, if we could do the other items before the consent agenda. I mean, before the closed session. That's what I was asking.
Okay. Well, we're in executive session now. Do I have a second of this?
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and second on agenda item 8A. Do I hear any further discussion from the board at this time? Hearing none, Jessica?
Mr. Coronado?
Yes?
Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Bayan?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Ms. Trout?
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. We are now back on Board of Trustee business. Agenda item 4, is that correct?
Correct, item 4A, and we do have one speaker. in the public wanting to, speak on this item.
Okay. What, you have one speaker on this?
Yes, for item 4A.
Okay.
So for item 4A, discussion and possible action regarding bond 2022, Ms. Carol Cassidy.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you so much, all of you, the board. Again, I'm so impressed with the quality of your teachers, of your principals, and your beautiful students. What a blessing. Absolutely. Conatio, my gosh. But before I can't be remiss here in citing, because I also wanted to speak about our beautiful Blanca trout, and I'm actually enraged about any of this nonsense. To me, if anybody is going to be where anyone is going to have a recusal, not a recusal, but to be censured, it should be the board that proposed this nonsense, while at the same time, this same board and these the board of trustees here that have maintained the book gender queer and all this LGBT for the beautiful children here to destroy their innocence and their American dream, which Mrs. Blanca Trout has maintained for her 7 years tenure on this board. So I'm going to conclude with that in regards to Mrs. Trout, and definitely she should be elected as county commissioner. She has the qualifications. Now to go back to this bond, how outrageous. You have less than 7,000 students and you're proposing 247 million. I lose track of all of the total amounts here, because I'm going to city council, I'm going to the county commissioners meeting, I'm hearing from the county hospital. All in total, these people are proposing for next year approximately $2 billion. Who's going to pay for all of this? This is insanity. So this bond, these beautiful people, vote no. No more taxes, no más impuestos. I hope I said that correctly, all right? My God. Anyway, you better look at the entire tax structure here. Approximately $47 million. Unbelievable. Anyway, I've said enough. So, and I'm also a proponent of 3 Christian school board members who will stand for your children's innocence and living the American dream without being in bondage to the taxes here. This is literally bondage, folks. It's slavery for all of us here in this beautiful community of El Paso, where at least 60% of you go to church. So you know that El Señor will come after us and send us to hell if we don't stand up and defend our children. And they are my children too. Amen. Because I love this community. I love the community of the United States. Actually, I'm also a proponent for all of my sisters and brothers that live in Iran, Iraq, all over the Middle East, all of the beautiful women and children there in bondage to Sharia. Anyway, I've said enough. Thank you so much. And God bless all of these families here. Vote no more taxes. Thank you. No más impuestos.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. Mr. Ruedas.
Now the members of the board of Calavis, I'm happy to be here to give you an update on the presentations that Dr. Calavis and I have been doing at campuses and other areas. We are revving up our outreach and wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of the presentation we're giving to the community. And this is exactly the presentation that we've been presenting. We just presented right before coming to this meeting at Reyes Elementary School. So this is an informational presentation. It is completely nonpartisan and non-persuasive to follow the law, and wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of it and answer any questions you may have regarding this presentation. So As you know, we are calling this presentation Every Child, Every School, the Canopio Bond 2022. We start out by giving a snapshot of the school district so people understand the community that is being impacted by this proposal. Canopio ISD being a school district of about 6,100 kids, Hispanic serving district, district with about 1,000 employees and 10 schools. We also touch on the history of the school district. You know, we trace our roots back to 1911 when when the county system of schools opened the first school here in Canopio. Of course, we incorporated in 1959 in order to give our community access to high school services. But we also want to make sure that people understand the enormity of our district. People may assume that we're just a small school district and write us off, but the reality is our buses travel nearly 300 miles every year. Our cafeteria people serve nearly 2 million meals every year, and our custodians and maintenance people service 550 square feet of instructional space on a daily basis. So we're talking about a big task here in Canopio ISD. And the reality is we do a darn good job. We are the highest performing school district in the region, AAA rated, best small school district in Texas, and as you can see in the next slide, we have tons of accolades, whether for financial or human resources, and of course our instruction. The district is performing at a high level of performance here. We also want to make sure that, next slide, we also want to make sure that people understand the reality. There's been a lot of talk about us not managing our funds for school construction and school renovation effectively. The reality is that the state does not send the school district or any school district any money to build new schools or to renovate schools. The only way that a school district receives any funding, any matching funds for facilities is if the voters of the district pass a bond election. That is the only way that the state will fund construction and renovation of campus. So of course we have the Every Child, Every School Canopio Bond, and it focuses on 4 main considerations: safety and security, growth, equity, and student programming. Next slide. As you know, the district engaged with MC Global, a national expert in school safety, to assess the systems and infrastructure for safety and security throughout the school district. They looked at every facility, of course, our 10 campuses, but also our central office and our bus barn to assess the threat level of our systems. They were very complimentary, as we know, the work that we've done, but also made significant recommendations to improve our safety and security. And growth, next slide, there you go. We know that we're experiencing growth at 20%, which is outpacing the state rate at this moment. CISD is one of only 2 school districts in the region. There's 9 school districts in the county that is experiencing growth. Socorro and Canopio are the only school districts experiencing growth. Currently, as we sit here today, there are over 2,000 homes under construction within the boundaries of Canopio ISD. Some districts like EPISD, Isleta, are landlocked, so construction has moved over to our school district. There are 5,000 additional homes that are already being planned within the district boundaries, and it's worth noting that as we speak today, both Reyes and CHS are either at capacity or above capacity, with other schools like Canopio Elementary School getting close to that level as well. When it comes to equity, we also know that while we are addressing issues of growth by building state-of-the-art facilities, we also know that we serve a community that's historic. Our historic communities in traditional Canopio have schools that have served this Canopio community for decades, and we want to make sure that as we continue to grow and build beautiful new instructional facilities, that we don't forget about our historic schools, and that we provide equity in instructional facilities there as well. And the last one is student programming. And this is important because we know we are going to be the premier suburban school district of El Paso. And in order to get there, we have to make sure that we have the student programs that our families want and our students deserve. That means that we have to have the funding, A, and the facilities, B, to offer those programs. And we're talking about basic programs right now, knowing full well that schools like Cantillo High School don't offer programs like orchestra or wrestling or swimming. And just across the boundary lines in El Paso ISD, those are basic programs that are offered at those schools. We want to make sure that our schools continue to grow and continue to offer programs, but we do need facilities that are able to accommodate those programs. We're also talking about CTE programming, both at the middle school and the high school, and of course elementary with programs like Montessori that we just brought in and has been very successful and has caused a lot of excitement within our community. Next one. So we came up with a project list that is $264.1 million. This was approved by the Board of Trustees to take to the voters in two propositions. Proposition A, which includes all the construction projects, worth $255.7 million, and Proposition B, which is the refinancing of maintenance tax notes, the debt that we incurred when we distributed computers to all our students during the pandemic for at-home learning. I'm gonna go over, this is something you've seen before, this is the list of projects that we are proposing and communicating to the community. At Cantillo High School, we're proposing a new athletics, fine arts, and CTE classroom wing addition to accommodate the type of girls that we're gonna be seeing at that school. Like we mentioned, CHS is at capacity, so they do need space for growth. And they also know that Ms. Parzalo has told us that they are right now classrooms using traditional classrooms for innovative programs like their medical programming there, like their fine arts that are inadequate, but they're small, and that don't fit within the level of instruction that is being taught there. Additionally, we're proposing to give multi-purpose rooms for athletics there, training rooms, coach's office, locker rooms, showers, and renovations to serve cheer, dance, soccer, volleyball, basketball, baseball, and track. These are programs that right now are sharing offices or don't have offices or even storage space. You know, that is not in conformance to any 5A school here in the city and the county. We want to make sure that we continue to be a powerhouse in athletics, and in order to do that, we need to provide them with the facilities that match those other schools in our districts, athletic districts, that have those facilities. At Northwest Early College, like the board voted, we are proposing the building of a brick and mortar classroom building there for them. Right now, of course, those students have been served by portable classrooms, and we are trying to move towards a more stable and sustainable edifice there made out of brick and mortar. The middle school is a school that right now is zoned mostly for students that are on the other side of the freeway. We want to make sure that we provide a facility that is a neighborhood school for them. That right now, Alderete is not really a neighborhood school for many students that attend that school. We're proposing the relocation of that school to a new location on the 79911 zip code. It will be a full-fledged middle school with all the benefits and facilities that come with that, with middle school. And next, in order to create equity, we're also proposing the reconstruction of Cantillo Middle School right there on Bosque Road. This is a school that was built nearly 50 years ago and is in dire need of upgrades. So it behooves us to make sure that we upgrade that school and build a modern facility to match the one that we're proposing for Cantillo. This is an equity issue. This is an issue we heard time and time again when we were talking to stakeholders following the last bond election that failed. They were talking about equity. They were talking about making sure that we address issues on both sides of our communities. So this is something that we feel is going to be beneficial to your students, in traditional Cantillo, and giving them, a school that they're gonna be proud of as well, not just because of their academic, output, but also because it's a beautiful modern new school. At Reyes Elementary School, which is a school that is, at overcapacity and in dire need of new classrooms, we're proposing, to build a classroom wing addition. And this is something that will, help alleviate some of the overcrowding that is, there right now. At Cantillo Elementary School, and, this will sound repetitive as I go about because this is similar at every elementary school except for Reyes. We are proposing the construction of a standalone multi-purpose building. This standalone building would serve multiple purposes, obviously, like the name implies. It would help them with, inclement weather, programming like PE, or after-school programming, special programming for parents, and anything else that might come. It's basically a small gym that's separate from the campus. But it also serves the purpose of safety and security. At this moment, these schools do not have the capacity to evacuate all students into one location if need be. This will give them an alternative location for evacuation if there is a need to leave the main building into a smaller standalone building. Additionally, Cantillo Elementary School, like all other elementary schools, would except for Reyes, would receive a discretionary campus improvement fund. This is a $1 million allotment that principals, in conjunction with their campus improvement teams, their parents, teachers, and community members, would take a look at the long list of deferred maintenance projects that our facilities department has identified for each campus, and then identify up to $1 million in order to address those needs there. We are not being specific on what those needs are because we want to make sure that those communities who know those campuses better than we do say we need X, Y, and Z to address at this campus. So, well, at Damian, it may be painting the exterior and getting new playgrounds. At Bill Childress, it may be building a new resurfacing roof, the roof or something else. So we want those schools to have ownership of this list because they know their schools best. As you go along, Bill Childress, this is the same sort of scenario. The multi-purpose room, the discretionary improvement fund, and the other projects like playboard recoating, the replacement of fabric canopies with metal canopies, and the roof membrane replacement. It is the same at Davenport Elementary School, multi-purpose room, campus improvement fund, and the other projects. Garcia Elementary School, the same. Jose Damian Elementary School, the same. And it's worth noting that there is a price difference for each one of these 5 campuses. The price difference is only in siting. Mr. Vasquez in transportation and facilities has determined that some schools have different types of pre-work that needs to get done in those schools in order to build, and that is the price differentiation for those. It is the same proposal for each school, but the siting may be different, and that's what alters the projected estimated cost. The Lone Star building, which is a building where Dr. Reyes and her team offers plenty of community engagement and community services to the Cantillo people, is doing great work, but they do need a new roof. We're proposing replacing the roof membrane there as well. And of course, safety and security. We talked about the recommendations made by the team that came in to take a look at our systems and our infrastructure, and we are proposing anywhere between $10 to $14 million in upgrades. And these are upgrades to buildings that include things like safety vestibules for welcoming visitors without having to let them into the building. It's an additional layer of safety and security. Things like cameras, doors, locks, things that will make us not just in compliance, but well beyond compliance. According to the contractors that came and did this work, This type of investment would put us as leaders in safety and security throughout the state, if not the country. So this is a significant investment into our safety and security systems here in UIC. We of course talked about bond project management, hiring a company that's going to help us manage this bond and help us keep it on track, on budget, and on schedule. These are people that come with expertise, with professionals that will help us manage this fund effectively so that we keep our promise to the community here. Proposition B, we want to make sure we address that as well. Like I mentioned before, this is the refinancing of the debt that the school district incurred when we distributed laptops to all our students during the pandemic. By paying this off, it would free up $1 million, $1.1 million each year. And this is money that would go back to the general fund. And of course, the general fund is the fund that pays for our day-to-day operation, including salaries, health costs, student programming, and all those issues that require a lot of attention from our school district. The tax impact is, according to our financial advisors, it's estimated at no more than 3 cents to the current tax rate. At its maximum, it would be increased by 3 cents. On the average Cantillo ISD home that is worth $223,258, that is an impact of $60 a year or $5 a month. I've given a table there with a variation of different home valuations. We know that our community is a community that has different types of homes. We have humble homes and we have very extravagant new homes being built in our district. So we wanted to give the community a list of home valuations so they can determine where their home falls and more or less how would it impact them. And I tell anyone that wants to bring their home valuation to me, I'll walk them through the formula to see how it impacts them directly. But it's worth knowing here that again, it's a 3 cent increase to the current tax rate as it stands today. Also, the tax impact for senior citizens, if this is approved, any tax rate increase that is approved by the voters will not impact senior citizens over 65 with a home citizen. That is a state law. This is our tax rate history. As you can see, in 2011, we communicated to the public that we would increase, that if approved, the 2011 bond would add up to 19 cents to the tax rate. We never got anywhere close to that. And our tax rate continues to be decompressed. Just this year, we approved a tax rate that is 4 cents lower than it was last year. So as the impact of the bond, if approved, continues to come in, and our tax rate continues to grow, that debt will be spread over as our tax base grows as well. We want to give people voter information. The last day to register to vote is October 11th. Early voting will be October 24th to November 4th, with election day being Tuesday, November 8th. And you guys will consider today this contract with the voters. And this is something we've been communicating to the public that you guys will consider. Of course, it's the legally binding resolution that creates bond timelines, establishes the list of projects. It calls for the creation of a bond portal with real-time updates, and calls for the creation of a Citizens Bond Advisory Council. As I communicate to people, I let them know that this is the board's way of showing to the public, if approved today by you guys, that this is the level of transparency, accountability, and will be top of mind, not just to the school board, but also to the administration as well. We want to make sure that we get this right, because we know that given the growth figures that we quoted earlier today, that the Cantillo ISD is a district that will experience fast growth and will require the help of the voters for further growth and construction of schools. And if we don't get this bond right now, we will be in trouble in trying to get support for future bonds as well. So we acknowledge that there were lapses in communication in the way we carried out the previous bond, the 2011 bond. We do invite people to log into our website, where we have outlined every single expenditure for the 2011 bond. Every cent is accounted for. But where we did make mistakes was in communicating the progress of that bond to the community. You know, we could have done a better job of doing that. You know, those sentiments of transparency and trust are perhaps valid. We acknowledge them, but our way of trying to cope with that and move forward is through this contract with the voters that you guys will consider today, and making sure that as we move forward, we are going to be create this layer of transparency and accountability that is you know, pretty innovative and creates avenues for the community to hold not just the district, but the board and the administration accountable. The next one is the way that people can get more information about the bond. We continue you know, we're online on our website. This is a living document where we're continue to upload information, and we'll be able to share more as the bond campaign progresses. Of course, on social media, we're pretty active, and we wanna share information there as well. And at this moment, we will take any questions.
Alright, Mr. Rodriguez.
I just wanna, presentation, I mean, in regards to, the previous bond program, I just wanna commend the staff for really, coming up with something, that the community could understand and get, the reason why I wanted to have this conversation I know there's some misinformation going on in the community. And I think most importantly, as we know as a school district, as you all, as the school district, not us as electeds, but could only get factual information. And I think when we hear something, we should rely that to you, so that way you can provide the factual information, whatever that may be, whether it's good or bad. But I think part of the reason was the transparency, and I think we need to continue to be transparent with the community. So that's one issue, and within that, I think what we're looking at in the previous bond, we said there was not gonna be a tax rate increase. There is a tax rate increase, so that addresses that issue in regards to, and I see the elderly where there's not a tax increase on that. But more importantly is more, I guess, where the community and the feedback that I'm getting is the CMS and AMS. CMS versus AMS, or moving up a high school, or why don't you move up CMS? And I think it's important for us, whether it's visuals, whether it's, I guess, mapping out of all, you know, geocoding of all the housing development that's coming up, to show where you can't have two middle schools on the, you know, on the bottom of the freeway. And not only that, having a third middle school would have a significant impact. And that's why administration is recommending what we do. And then also, it also is a plus because we're looking at equity and remodeling those facilities needs. That's gonna, so I think maybe coming up with, you know, the fact sheets that are being misinformed within the community, I think is important. The other is Reyes Elementary. As we know, I don't know who was on the board back when Reyes Elementary, were you? So I guess it might have been me, said one. Some of the information that we've got, when board members, as we know, the staff is only, staff provides, the board is only as good, has as much as information as what the staff provides us. And what we ended up finding out in a little bit after was the fact that Damon Murphy, the previous superintendent, wanted to build a pre-K 8, and what he said is those kids don't deserve to go to them in the schools that we had previously, which were AMS and CMS. And not only that, there was an email between the demographer and Ms. Brigham was on that email as well, that they actually asked for them to increase those numbers to make that look like they needed a pre-K-8 up there. And so, I think you need to look at the factual information, but I think more than importantly, a pre-K-8, as we know, research shows it's not the best solution. I mean, for fast-growing districts, it's probably something that you have to, because you have to build a school, but as a school district that has the capacity of doing what we're doing, you create a more inequity. Imagine a pre-K-8 over there, you're creating a big inequity within the district. It's like, why not do a pre-K-12? Then you create that inequity. So I think getting the factual information on that and being able to say why we went with an elementary school instead of pre-K-8, and I think that's been a major issue even since. So I think how do you as administration and staff come up with that factual sheet with the facts? But I mean, I could go on the politics side on that, but I won't.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that the school districts with fast growth are getting away from PK. Socorro for a while was doing them. They no longer are doing them. While EPISD is moving towards that design, they're doing it as a way to cope with loss of enrollment, which is not a problem. So I think there's different ways of doing there's a time and a place for pre-K. I don't think fast growth is one of those, because like you mentioned, it creates sort of pockets of schools there that stay within, and we don't have the population to have a PK-8 there, because frankly, a PK-8 at Reyes would not create enough student enrollment to make them competitive in UIL, in athletics, and in that sense, it would not make sense to do that. We do need to address growth in that area, and we do know that at this moment, the way our boundary lines are drawn, most of the students that live over there are zoned into Alderete. They're having to cross the freeway. This is not a neighborhood school, and our goal should be to create neighborhood schools.
I agree, but I think that needs to be a fact sheet, so that way if we do get that, it's like, this is a reason why Reyes went from a pre-K-8 back to an elementary school, and these are the reasons why, because it's not, best practices, it creates a larger inequity, whatever that may be.
And the numbers were not there.
Yeah, and the numbers were not.
Yeah.
They were previously, but we won't say how. So the other is Bill Childress, the sale of land of Bill Childress and Garcia. As we know, we've had people talk about that we were bringing drugs and crime and stuff, and I think it's important for us to realize what that community might look like and what that, if it's economically disadvantaged, great, we need housing for all people within our community. But I think we need to be transparent with the community on that. And then the other is Garcia, which, is it Garcia? Yeah, Garcia. Is it Garcia? Yeah, Garcia. And I actually passed because I wanted to get the factual information on this. In regards to, in 2013, and this is something Ms. Barnes in our politics should look at filing a TA complaint on, was 25 acres were appraised for $800,000 in January of 2013. $800,000 in January of 2013, they were appraised. The district decided to buy that land for $1,500 in 2013, $700,000 above the appraisal price. $1,500,000, yes, correct. So it was appraised at $800,000, and we bought it. This is the factual information. We bought it at 1.5, $700,000 above the appraised market. And what they're saying is that we actually sold it. We had a loss, and we did because of what the district paid for it back then. Now, in 2020, those 25 acres were appraised, and that appraisal came in at $1,020,000. The district sold that land for $1,200,000. And so that is factual information, and I think in regards to that, we won't go into the politics of, the Searles not wanting housing in her backyard, but I I think the most important thing is that we were sitting on it without a tax base. What's the factual information? We were sitting on it without a tax base, and we needed to build a community around that, and that's what this community is gonna look like. So I think we need to make sure that, as you all know, the district needs to provide that factual information to the community, and then that way, we can make sure that misinformation is not going around anymore.
Well, what I can speak to is the fact that we know, and we continue to speak with developers, so we know, which communities are coming online. And we also know that there's communities coming online in every elementary school area in the district. So that growth is not an issue in one side of the district or the other, it's an issue throughout the district. Every elementary school will have new housing coming online within the next 5 years.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Anybody else? Comments? Mr. Hernandez.
So I just do wanna jump in, to be fully frank with you, you know, I think this bond is really needed. That's the big thing I've been hearing is wants and needs, whatever. I think it's needed. I think the display we had this morning with all the teachers, all the principals coming in here, we saw them, the room was packed, we had them all up here. Our district is doing so well and we don't have the facilities to match that. Our students deserve the best, our principals deserve the best, our teachers deserve the best, you know? And this bond does that. If it's raising the tax rate, what was it, $5 for a $200,000 home, right? That was the average. Our average building right now is 25 years, right? 30?
Yes.
So these buildings in 30 years, you know, these new buildings in 30 years are gonna be old, you know, these new ones that we propose to build. And I think that now our students deserve it. I think and I can't say that enough just cause it frustrates me that this bond is such an issue, and I understand it, you know, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say that right there. I think it's needed for our teachers, for our principals, for everyone, because we are excelling as a district, and our community and our students deserve that facilities that match it.
Board members, this is Priscilla Mata, legal counsel for the district. Let's just remember not to advocate for or against, the bond. We have to stick to the facts. So we wanna let Mr. Ramirez, answer any of your questions, any of your fact-based questions. Now's not the time to advocate for the bond.
Gotcha.
Anybody else? Well,
Here, it's not whether we advocate for the bond, but these are things that the administration is telling us that these are needed. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
It's not something that's wanted, these are needs that administration is recommending for this bond.
Right, these have been identified as projects that are needed under the facility studies, that was conducted by the city.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, all right, then we will, did we, put for A and B? Is that just for A? Okay, all right, that takes us then to, are we gonna take up on this item, the contract?
That's under 4B.
That's on 4B. Okay.
Gustavo, do you wanna stay to do the contract? Gustavo,
Yes.
wanna stay for the contract?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I had questions. Item 4B, discussion and possible action to approve a resolution expressing the board's intent with respect to the use of proceeds of bonds to be issued following approval of the voters of the district, establishment of a bond accountability committee, and other matters incident thereto.
I so move.
All right, we have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on agenda item 4B. To approve the resolution expressing the board's intent with respect to the use of proceeds of bonds to be used. All
following approval of the voters of the district, establishment of a bond accountability committee, and other matters incident thereto. Mr. Velez, in this, resolution that, the administration has provided, it includes all of those items?
Yes, sir.
And what is the proposal for the bond council? How many people are you all requesting?
We haven't developed that. We can develop bylaws that include the makeup of the bond advisory council at a later date. But, it does, I think the intent of the board and the administration is to fill it with members of the community, taxpayers, parents, and maybe even teachers and, instructional people to make sure that each project has input from the people that are being impacted.
Okay, and my only request when that council is formed is, to make sure that we would try to include all areas of the district that we have participation from, throughout the district.
Definitely.
As we did last time.
Yes, and we wanna make sure that, if approved today, we will upload that document to our website so that people can take a look at it. And it's already on the agenda backup, but we wanna make it easier to access. This contract with the voters is going to be critical in our outreach to the community in order to give them that sort of mind of what the intent of this school board is to the community when it comes to the carrying out of this bond.
Alright, thank you. Any further discussion? Alright, Ms. Brown.
Yes, I do have a question. For this resolution, we'll see the total bond of $255,730,100. So plus the notes for like $8,369,100. I could see that you already put constructions of the new Alberta Middle School, Canutio Middle School and everything. Was it not necessary to put the same numbers? How much it will cost every item, for example, construction of the new Alberta Middle School, the amount, reconstruction of Canutio Middle School, the amount, and so that people they know what is itemized.
Right. That's a good point, Ms. Trout. But these are estimates. We don't know at this moment how much it would cost because we are basing this as an estimate. I think Mr. Vazquez can address when it comes to pricing. I'm not an expert in pricing, but we want to make sure that we're committed to this project list. But the cost of making sure that we are not committed to one because it might come in below, it might come in a little bit above, depending on the cost of construction at that moment in time.
So we'll fluctuate. It will fluctuate.
We're hoping that it's below. We have built in cushions for inflation and other things like that. But definitely, these are cost estimates based on data and based on experts. Yes.
Well, you already stated some amounts here. I just want
Right.
to give. This is going to the committee.
Right.
You already presented to the.
Yes, we're presenting them. And those are documents that are publicly and readily available as well.
That's what I said, so this is worth a good year. We saying good statements, why not put it in this resolution? We're gonna promise.
I mean, I wouldn't have a problem with it. It's just, this is the resolution that went through the legal.
Thank you so much,
part.
Mr. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Alright, any further questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion before the board. Jessica, please pull the board.
Mr. Coronado?
Yes?
Mr. Hernandez?
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Mr. Payan?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Ms. Trout?
No.
Motion passes.
That takes us to the next agenda item.
Agenda item 4C, discussion and possible action regarding behavior displayed by trustee Blanca Trout during Canutio ISD homecoming parade to include possible censure of board member.
And we also did have one member of the public wanting to speak on this item.
Okay, because I am, involved in a, election, against Ms. Prout in this area, and I did not request this item, I am going to, abstain from even presiding over this item, so I'm gonna ask, Mr. Payan he would take over, and preside over this item.
Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair?
Ms. Trout, I am abstaining from
Oh, then
presiding
he's gonna
over this
preside.
item completely. So I do not even wanna participate in terms of, seeking any comments from the board or myself with regards to this item, including, anything having to do with the facilitation of, the item itself, the discussion, anything related to that, or calling our members, so I'm abstaining, and I'm asking Mr. Payan to,
Please. At this time, I guess we would invite.
I would like, Mr. Vice Chair, I
Go
would
ahead.
like to add something as well. And also I would like to request that Mr. Rodriguez abstain from voting as well, since he's a customer from Mr. Coronado as well. And Mr. Coronado is the one who put the item in the agenda, so every vote concerning to Mr. Coronado, since he's his customer, I think every vote will benefit him. So I see a conflict of interest as well.
That's good. That's it.
I will make my statement right after, so,
Would you like to know the cases, Mr.?
I'm listening to you.
And also, Chloe, can you make sure that everyone's kosher? Thank you. Don't even give them a warning.
So then, if you accept it or not, I would like to have this for the record. I'm requesting that Mr.
You want, so what I was gonna ask is, I asked Dr. Galaviz to not even put this item on the agenda because of the politics behind it. And so I'm gonna listen to it, and my recommendation is that we take no action. So if any action, that would be after the election, but I don't want this to interfere into political. It's sad to see that this is actually happening, but I do have some questions because you did call legal and you involved my name in regards to
Are
me
we starting
participating.
this meeting? Are we
Go
starting
ahead.
this
Just a
item
minute.
already? I think that it's,
He's responding to you.
so
you
we're
wanna
starting
continue?
right now,
Do you wanna continue with your?
or what I said, that he needs to abstain from voting or make any comments, since he's a customer from Mr. Coronado, that he's represented in cases to Mr. Rodriguez. Case number 2022 PF file 11-829, and case number 2022 DCD 1243. So any comments or votes, he needs to abstain.
Eagle, is that?
And also, sorry, before you jump in, what do you mean customer, in what sense?
I would like to, Mr. Rodriguez, answer that, if you would like me to extend.
I'm asking you though, cause you're the one saying customer.
It's illegal, let me jump in, good evening, everyone, board members, Dr. Galaviz. So, and I'm not aware of, the facts behind what you're, alluding to. Ms. Trout, this is the first time I hear about it, certainly my office has not been consulted about it. But what I will say is that, Mr. Rodriguez, it's up to you if you want to abstain, if you, I think we've had enough information disclosed here, for you to make a decision. What I'm hearing is that, the request to place this item on the agenda, did not come from Mr. Coronado. So to the extent it came from you, Mr. Rodriguez, and you don't want to.
No, I'm actually not gonna vote. I'm gonna ask that we actually not take a vote because I don't want it to be, so part of my discussion is to let this go. And so I do have a question in regards to Ms. Trout putting my name, that I had done this in the parade before, which I never have, and I just want her to clarify that.
Now, let's not forget, we have someone signed up for public comment on this item too, so you all are free to continue the discussion to the extent that you want to. But it doesn't sound like there's gonna be any motion here. So, Ms. Trout, do you have anything else to add or respond to Mr. Rodriguez?
I don't have nothing unless I.
And at the end of the day, she should be repeating. I'm asking that we do not take action. I wanna listen to what actually happened, and I do have a question because you referenced that I had to the legal counsel that I had participated in previous parades by myself, and that's why you did it.
In 2016, you participated in a golf cart in the parade. Also, another board member, she participated with her banner running for justice of the peace medicine.
The 2016, we were all as a board. We were together as a board.
There is some pictures. But,
Right.
Mr. Rodriguez, if you would like to extend this, we would like to, what would you like to say?
Right now, I'd like to entertain a public comment, if you would. Whoever signed, Jessica, who signed up?
Ms. Carol Cassidy?
Cassidy?
Well, all of you, I think it's late, and I think I've already expressed my opinion about this. I mean, I think it's absurd, utter nonsense. I think, we have two of these, trustees that are vying for the same position politically here in our, county. So I think that, you guys ought to just, throw this thing out. This is absurd. I thought it was a joke when I heard that our wonderful Blanca Trout was going to be held in. I mean, I couldn't believe this because she rode in her own pickup truck. Give me a break. And how many of these trustees weren't there? They were elsewhere. I believe there were only 2 trustees that rode in the official float, and then due to an asthmatic attack that Blanca had the day before, and it required she go and seek medical care, and was prescribed a prescription, and based on what she had, and the physician's assistant advised that she ride in her own vehicle. Well, what's wrong with that? My gosh, what's going on here? I mean, this is you guys are making a grandstand out of what? Nothing. So the fact that she rode in her own pickup truck, okay. I think that's all there is to say about this. Utter nonsense for me. Anyway, so thank you so much, and I think you owe an apology to Mrs. Blanca Trout. Absolutely, you owe her an apology for whoever put this out.
Thank you, Ms. Cassidy. At this moment, I guess I'll entertain some comments from Mr. Levy.
I do. Internal Auditor, I wanna ask you, did any other board trustees call you? You told me today. Other trustees that,
So, in my role as internal audit, right, I routinely.
Just speak closer to it.
Just routinely get inquiries from board members, requesting information. It's a very routine, responsibility of mine, and I did have a trustee reach out to me, asking for any policy documentation.
what trustee for?
Mr. Owens. Requesting just a copy of policy documentation that we have at the district, related to campaigning and, those types of activities, since there are more board members that are, running for re-election. So the extent of that request, was me going into our policy and researching it and providing a copy of that policy, to all of the board, as is the procedure. So the request came from an individual board member, but the policy went out to the board entirely. And this was prior to the, parade. When I sent the policy, I did say, I am not a JD, so if they needed any help regarding any kind of legal interpretation, my guidance was for, whatever board member needed additional information to reach out to council. And that would be the guidance that they would need if they had any additional questions. So,
Thank you.
no.
I do wanna add, board members and Dr. Galavisa, we were consulted about this, and we were consulted by both, Ms. Trout and and a few administrators, I can't recall who, but the issue, as it was presented to us, was electioneering and prohibitions during election season by board members that are also serving as candidates in an election. So, the issue was not so much writing individually, in a pickup truck. What was being asked was whether it could be done, with, the name of the trustee and, possibly some political signage. The answer is no if it relates to a school district homecoming parade. That parade is not any one of yours or your ownership, it's the ownership, and it's a formal presentation by a school district, for homecoming purposes. And so, what we have to remember is not to use any district resources or funds or time or events to campaign. And, whether or not, Ms. Trout looked at it that way or not, we have to be realists. We're in election season. And so our advice was, no, let's make sure that the board rides as a group. If you can't ride as a group, you're free to ride individually, but with no additional flair or, individual campaign signage or names.
That's not what,
She didn't have any.
she could ride all downtown if she wanted.
Right, but
She
the fact that it was
couldn't
part of
ride-
a homecoming
She
parade.
couldn't ride in a district sanctioned function.
Right, and so I believe the policy, if I'm not mistaken, I'm a little, fuzzy on the code, I think it's, BBA or double BA. In any case, it is part of your school district policy. You can't use school district resources, or funds or time or any events, for campaign purposes. You have to be extra careful. Yeah, you have to be extra careful during election season. And so, that's not what's being presented today, but just a little bit of background, for purposes of this, possible motion to censor Ms. Trout. Are there any questions for legal counsel?
No, I just think, for myself, I'm responsible for the safety, security, every function here in the district. And when you have an unauthorized vehicle, before that week, in our Canopio homecoming parade, it's unsafe. You could have Parkland come with their homecoming stuff. You could have, any floats. We have a process and a system on floats. There's 55 floats that were in the parade. None of them said, Ms. Trump was not just sanctioned to be in that parade. Not at all. So that's safety, security, number one. That means next year, does that mean anybody can come in? God forbid, it's just a parade. Well, we have to ensure that what's presented at our parade have vetted through our process, and that's the high school. History of the parade, been here 10 years, never had a board member ask, their election, if they could ride. Ms. Trout's been, 5, 6 years, never had an election, never said, hey, I wanna drive by myself, ever. This year, all of a sudden, the week before, she submits an application to the high school. High school calls me up, I said, no, I don't think so. Talked to a couple board officers, Ms. Earls. When Ms. Earls happened to call me, no, that's not right. One board, one float. One board, one float. Multiple times, call Ms. Trout. Again, no board member, no trustees likes to hear no. They don't like to hear no. When they hear no, you're anyway threatened with your job, you're threatened, who are you? I'm an elected official, you can't stop me. Bigger than, again, I looked at, again, I have a picture of the truck, cause it was sent to me. We found out after the parade, when we were down in Los Mochis, that hey, this trout's in the parade. I just wait a minute. And I gave instructions to Chief Kluge and the high school, and this trout is not supposed to be in a parade. Wasn't authorized. There's one board, one float. It's for the community. It's not about self, it's not about campaigning. It's about, it's for the community, for the kids. Again, the week before, nothing medical. Just, hey, I wanna have my own, truck or whatever in the parade. The week of, on Monday, Officer Fausto was there, Damian. This trout apparently had an asthma attack. She didn't talk. Officer Fausto said she refused EMS.
Dr. Galavis, you cannot discuss my health, no,
Okay.
this is under FERPA,
Ms.
it's
Crown,
under
no,
FERPA.
Anyways,
I'm protected under FERPA,
He's
okay.
speaking.
anyway, she said she couldn't, due to health, medical reasons. She wasn't gonna be in the parade. That day, she sent me a doctor's note. I said, well, you can ride in the truck that's pulling the float. The window's up. Great, didn't hear from her. No one heard from her. High school, we didn't see her. Okay, everything's good. Told her she's getting better. Yeah, the next day, flies out to San Antonio at a conference. I don't know, maybe her mother's better there. I don't know, and it comes back to elected officials. You're not above, you say no, you're not. And it may be just a parade for some, maybe just, but it's about following rules, safety, security. Now, the students, you guys are student council members. Did you allow one of your students? You don't have to answer that. But I just wanna know, moving forward, next year, we're gonna have 7 floats? The kids at Gallaty Elementary decorated that parade. Not only that, the topic was Toy Story. Toy Story. Nothing on the truck said Toy Story. Nothing on the truck. So, next year, why have a board float there? Why, you know what, just assign you all to each school. That way there's no more float, we don't have to deal with. Why have a parade? I just wanna know going forward, again, this happened in public, we may wanna wait till after election, but this is, in my opinion, I have staff looking at me, and they're saying, did she really do that? We really have, we don't have to follow rules, doesn't matter. So, again, we have values here in this district. And if we're not gonna follow them, and you're not gonna follow them as a board, it's called parallel processing. You don't expect us to follow, don't expect kids to follow. She was told no several times. That's all I'm saying, you can wait till after election, you can wait till all this and no one wants to talk. But again, it's just about following rules. All it is, very simple, safety, security.
Mr. Vice Chair, I have a comment.
One of them. Go ahead.
I just wanna say, I believe everywhere you go, there's rules to follow. And in the parade, there are rules to follow. Nowhere in the agenda, the list, where all the cars were passing did, respectfully, did it say Ms. Trout had a car that was supposed to be lined up. There was an order to follow, and her sneaking into the parade made it a safety issue for all, not just the trucks, but, kids in the road. You know, there's what ifs. What if one of the truck drivers would have accidentally hit someone? What if the truck driver would have caused a crash, not seeing them coming in? I just believe there are a set of rules to follow, and they should have been followed.
Go ahead.
Mr. Vice Chair, thank you so much, appreciate that. like to read something to the community. In reference to the agenda items set forward today, I have always participated in the school district celebrations with delight, love, and enthusiasm for my lovely community. I would like to let you know that the voters have been instrumental in success and the growth of the Canutillo district. The trust that you have put in me represent you as a Canutillo School Board trustee is an honor and privilege. I do my best to ensure your voices are heard. As a trustee, I have the opportunity and responsibility to participate in matters of school business. As a trustee, in accordance to the Texas Education Code 11.551, it is my responsibility to oversee the management of the district and to ensure the superintendent implements and monitors plans, procedures, programs, and systems to achieve appropriate, clearly defined and desired results in the major areas of the district operations. Participation in extracurricular events, even if sanctioned by the district, are not open to sanction. Sergio Coronado, as the opponent of the current political race against me, placing this item in the agenda for discussion. It is abuse of power and outside the scope of his position and of the censorship process. I'm doing so he's subject to the entire school district and board liability under US 42 Code subsection 1983, violating my civil rights. Precautions shall be taken with the parade lineups to ensure the safety of all participants in attendance. Just a few points to be considered. Are animals involved in the event? Are they well taken care of? What are the precautions in place if one of the startle to the participants or noises which could cause a public safety hazard? Parade organizers must always have these answers before inviting people to participate. For this event taking place on September the 21st, 2022, I was notified September 15, 2022 in a board packet. No details around safety protocols, evacuation routes, staging areas for participants or attendants. In the communication and participation in the parade, there was no clear, defined participation protocol. There has been an increase in school violence to include the threat of cause a lockdown to occur with our own district in August the 24th, 2022. Homecoming, it is accompanying celebrations and extracurricular open air events. And we as a participants, we are not provided with complete procedures of information concerning our and the safety of the public or the public of the, for the safety of the public. I'm sad that a board president and in my opponent in the same political race will use his position and authority to bring forward this agenda item completely circumventing the rules and guidelines set by TASB, Texas Association of School Board. I humbly ask the board disagree in any call to censor and to make a commitment to focus and address matters directly impacting the district, for example, for students, public complaints, maintenance, bond issues, and items that are within our duties as representatives. Thank you.
So I am gonna say though, us sitting on this board, we are the leadership of the district, and with you and your staff, right, Dr. G? And my mindset has always been, nobody really keeps in mind what the school district's doing until they don't like something that they don't like. I'm at the school board, right? A perfect example of that, I think, is when I was in school, the barn, right? There was some, I won't get into the politics of it and stuff, but there was some mishappenings happening with the barn, right? There was politics behind it. And us as students, me as a student at the time, I was here for that meeting. We had friends in that, and you know, it creates a lot of unrest if we're not following the rules and procedures and acting like role models for the students at all times. Doesn't matter if we're in the board capacity or in a individual capacity, if I'm just at the school districts. And you know, if there's rules and procedures and you were told no, Ms. Trout, I don't think that's right. I think there has to be some type of accountability. We have to inform Dr. G if we're going to the school districts. What is it, Dr. G, 7 days prior to going, right? If he's telling you no like a day or two before, I think that's an issue. There's an accountability issue, even if it's a sanctioned event for the school district. But not only that, if you had a health issue, and I'm not gonna argue that with you, I won't get into it, but if you're in that float, you're kinda trapped to follow the route. If you ever had something happen to you, that's an issue to get out of there for you. It's a health issue for you, and it can become a risk trying to get you out of there through the crowds and everything. It doesn't have to be a censure. I don't know about the laws or anything, in regards to what she had said, that we can't censure it because it was a censured, I can't remember exactly what you said right there, Ms. Trout, in regards to not censoring it, but I do think there has to be some type of accountability. And if the board doesn't wanna take action right now, I think that's wrong. It doesn't have to be a censure, but I do think there has to be accountability in regards to holding us to a level of professionalism and a level of adherence to the rules that we set, you know? With the 7 days, we have to let them know 7 days prior to going to a campus, and that includes schools' functions. You know, so that's just my opinion on it. I do think we have to take some type of action. It doesn't have to be a censure, but I think some type of accountability has to be held for us.
Mr. Vice Chair, I have another comment to make.
I'm sorry?
I was just gonna say, I'm seeing this from my eyes. I see that the board is a team, and we should have gone to the parade as a team, not leaving one out, because in my eyes, I don't see that correctly. It's supposed to be a team, a family, somebody who, you know, a group of people who get along and respect one another. But seeing one of our trustees be in a separate float just does not look right. And I don't know if our community is up to date with who's on the board, but if they do, they see, oh, this certain person is over here, and the rest of them are over here. Is there a problem there? I don't want there to be I don't want people to start making comments on that, on noticing just that whole situation. I would also like to make a comment. In addition, going back to what Dr. Galavi said about security and safety being an issue, if it were any other person, a stranger, a student from another school who did this action, there would likely be consequences. It's a security issue. You can't set this standard that simply because you're in a certain position you aren't entitled to taking accountability, as Mr. Hernandez said. Because in the end, like I said, if there was a stranger who did that exact same thing and drove their truck, you as a board would want to take action and have them be held accountable. And it all comes back to the students and the safety of the parents and their kids as well. Like Leslie brought up earlier too, is let's say something happened, in the end, it's not just the truck that's held liable, it's also the board. There's certain actions that must be taken, of course, from a student's perspective.
Thank you.
This has been a very difficult issue for me because I was not at the parade. I have the utmost respect for Ms. Trout. She's a dedicated board member, but in this particular instance, I think it was wrong, Ms. Trout, that you didn't go on the school board vote, that you opted to take something different, that you opted to go on a different vehicle. I understand that sometimes things happen, but we are a team, Ms. Trout, and you are a member of us. And therefore, with all due respect, Ms. Trout, in this instance, I've got to agree with Mr. Hernandez that the perception just doesn't sit right.
My comments would be, in every organization I've ever been a part of, government, whatever. There's only one person that calls the shot. In this instance, it was the superintendent who told you no numerous times. The attorney mentioned you under the policy that no, you cannot do that. In the military, in city council, in county government, in the sheriff's department, no matter where you go, the CEO calls the shots. He's the one that says, no, it's not arbitrary. He cited different instances and different reasons why he said, no, you cannot do that. If we, like you said, if we don't listen, if we don't follow our own rules and regulations, we're gonna have chaos. We go to legislative governance training. We went twice. You were a part of it. And the first thing they told us, until adults' attitudes change, the kids' attitudes will not change. They drummed that into us time and time and time and time again. Right? When I ran, first question I asked, what can or cannot we do? The pamphlet specifically said, we cannot use any pictures, we cannot use any resources, we cannot even hang our signs on school boundaries or school properties. You knew that was wrong. You've been on the board long enough. And it smacks of being somebody that doesn't want to be part of the team. That's my frank analysis of it. We've got a boss. We give him the authority to run the school district. God knows he's got enough people trying to tell him how to run the school. God knows he's got enough people trying to tell him, hey, that teacher is not good. God knows he's got that principal is no good. He's the one responsible for running the school district. We pay him enough money, along with the principals and the assistant superintendents, to run the school. Whether it's a raid, a football function, a basketball function, or whatever. He's the one that runs it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And for us to go over there and try to threaten him with his job because we don't like what he's doing, we do it as a team, not as an individual. And I think I agree with Mr. Hernandez. I think there's got to be consequences. Whether it's a censure or whatever. I don't know if we can decide today or tomorrow or next week or when. But it's wrong for you to try to take your own initiative to butt in at the parade that you were told clearly. No, you cannot do that.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Okay.
We're talking about policy, a policy that I never received.
You're a board member, you know what you're supposed to, a handbook
I have
specifically
the floor,
tells you.
Mr.
You are supposed to
Mr.
review
Vice
the
Chair.
board policies.
I have the floor, please let me
No,
finish.
you
Yes.
are citing, you're citing an instance that there was
I have the floor.
you have been on the board for years, and you should know the rules and regulations of those board
I
policies.
need to Vice President Bayan, and this is legal counsel coming back to something you, asked, Mr. Bayan, was whether, censorship or another alternate measure could be taken tonight. All that's on the agenda is a possible censor.
Okay.
So that's all that the board can consider tonight. If it's something that you wanna bring up at a future meeting in a different way, in a different manner, you certainly could, but all that's on the agenda tonight is a possible censorship.
In that case, I'll entertain a motion.
But I need to finish, I have the floor, please, and I
Go
would
ahead.
like to address something. The policy which I never received, which I never signed it, I don't know where is the policy. I only participated in a different way, as I told you, but I have different reasons why that I did this way. It's an only time. Any resources, I never use any resources. I never displayed anything from the school district. I never purchased any banner or sign from the school district. I do understand very clearly, Mr. Vice Chair. And you stated already signs or a school property is wrong. I'm gonna tell you something, you're running for re-election, and your signs has the eagle from the school district. Is this appropriate for you, sir, to do that?
Eagle is a universal symbol that
No,
people
it's not
can
a
use.
universal, you
Yes,
do
it
it
is.
because it is linked to our school district.
It is
It's
a
always been by
universal
several
symbol.
years.
There's
Let me
like
finish.
3 other school districts that use that
Let-
same
I'm
label.
talking to him and I have the floor, please.
Board members,
Thank
but
you.
let's keep the discussion narrowed in on what's
So
on the
I just-
table.
Yes, thank you, so I just wanted to say what is right and what is wrong. See, we're gonna recriminate someone that is right, I would like, or wrong, I would like to know if everyone is right.
And for clarification, again, this is legal counsel, we're speaking not only about policy, I think you all understand that there are election rules and laws under the Texas Election Code, as well as the Constitution of Texas, that disallows and basically prohibits, gift of public funds, use of public funds for personal, gain, for private interests. And so we do need to be careful in the way that, you handle yourself as trustees, all of you, especially during election season when you're a candidate for some office. But I do wanna kind of rein in the board again to what's on the table. There's a possible motion to censor Ms. Trout. So to the extent that there's gonna be any motions, now would be a time to entertain them.
I so moved.
Entertain a motion, is the one action, what will we do about?
I move to censure.
Second.
Motion is made to censor.
Who seconded?
I'm
Sorry.
I did.
Okay.
I did.
I have a motion by trustee Hernandez, seconded by trustee Mendoza.
But there's no discussion, should be discussion before a motion.
We've already discussed.
Oh, that I wanted to know which is the policy that I broke, which is the resource, legal resource that I broke. I just wanted to know which one is that according to my civil rights, which is the one that I broke. I just wanted to know.
So, Ms. Stroud, I'll speak only based on what I understand, from your consultation with Stephen Blanco at my office. My understanding is that there was some electioneering, or perceptions of electioneering happening at the, homecoming parade. And so I'm not taking a position, as it relates to this agenda because it's not posted as such, not giving any sort of legal, opinion as to whether you violated or not the rules, but it was my understanding that in discussing with legal counsel for the school district, Steve Blanco, he did advise you not to.
He was, yes, ma'am,
Attend
it
the
was his
homecoming.
recommendation, but
Right.
there's no law who prohibits me to do so. There's no law, I looked at resources already, I looked at TASB, and I looked at other entities, and there's no legal resources that I broke already. So
So-
if we're talking about electioneering, it's just.
Electioneering,
As
yes.
a trustee, I never disclose anything, and the pictures will tell you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
And so we'll make sure that, that we redirect you to those policies. Again, I can't recall the code off the top of my head right now, but it's both policy and election law. And so, I think the motion on the floor is to censor you, for the rest of this board meeting. Is there a limitation that you wanna add to your motion before it goes to vote, Mr. Hernandez? So typically, your board operating, procedures, provide some more, parameters for censorship. Typically, it's momentary, it's short in nature. And so the censorship is intended to last for the remainder of the,
I'm okay for the rest
The
of the
board
meeting.
meeting.
And then I'm okay for the rest of the meeting.
it's symbolic in nature, this is
Yeah.
not a legal proceeding, I wanna assure you all, this is not a legal measure. But your board operating procedures do allow you to censor, one another when there's a violation of policy or your own operating procedures. So can you, Mr. Hernandez,
I think for the rest of the meeting, I do.
can you amend your motion though?
I will. Do we have to take a motion to amend it?
Yeah,
Yep. Do I need a second for it?
yes,
I second.
okay.
Mr. Hernandez,
Yes.
Ms. Mendoza,
Yes.
Mr. Bryan,
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Abstain.
and Mr. Guerrero abstains.
I'm
imagine this
Trap, sorry.
Of course, I would vote no. This is totally out of position. This is not right. It's nothing in the US Supreme Court proceeds suggests that the court intended for the First Amendment to guard against every political backsplash for wide arrays of everyday squabbles or hardball politics.
No, but it's an abuse of
I'm not
power.
talking to you, I'm saying my statement, please, thank you.
So I'm gonna make a statement, it's an abuse of power. I fully think that the security officers, if it was anybody else, would have stopped it if it was a threat.
We're not discussing.
It's enough.
Okay, board members, so the next item, please, and let me just, state for the record, we have a majority vote of those, voting on this item. In case there was any questions about that, cause we have, 3 votes in favor of the censorship.
Motion.
Right, three votes in favor.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next item, please.
Next item is gonna be item 5A, 2022 Canudillo academic ratings and spring 2022 assessment results for Star and Heavy.
Hello, good evening, Board President Coronado, Mr. Dr. Galaviz, and, board members. So TEA requires that we share the assessment results, each year with you ahead of the September 30th date. So, my name is Jessica Harrison, I'm the District, Testing and Accountability Administrator. Next slide, please. All right, so, this, of course, we're going to repeat it again. This is our complete accountability rating summary. These are the scores that we had in every single area. We've said it a couple of times tonight, we are the only, district in the region that received, 3 A's in a row for all of the past, 3 years of academic accountability ratings. This letter grade reflects the dedication of our teachers and our administrators, plus the resilience and the perseverance of our students. We have a lot to be happy about, a lot to celebrate. Next slide. So some people say, well, how did our schools do? This slide shows us exactly how all of our schools rated and what individual letter grades they received. As you saw tonight, we did have several A-rated schools. A lot of our other schools were B-rated, and then we did have 1 C rating. We have a lot to celebrate, but we also have a lot of work to do. We also received distinction designations in several areas. If you look at this slide and you go all the way to the final column, you'll see that we did receive distinctions. Bill Childress received 1 distinction in academic growth. Just to summarize a few, AMS received 6 distinctions, in EOAR, math and science, social studies, post-secondary readiness. Our high school received a distinction in academic growth, and that is just to name a few. Next slide, please. So how do we compare across the region? And again, this is just looking at our overall assessment results. We held the 2nd highest overall score in the region and earned purely A's and B's across all rating categories. So some of our counterparts still earned C's in certain areas, while we remained above with A's and B's. Next slide. Now we can dig into a little bit of our specific content area results. The 3rd column in each grade level represents Canutillo specific results. We surpassed the region and the state in reading in grades 3, 4, 5, and 6. In grades 7 and 8, we are within 2% of the state and the region. The blue lines on the graph represent our scores that we're approaching. Orange represents our scores that were meets, and gray represents our scores that are mastered, meaning that those students were above grade level in their reading ability. In mathematics, we saw a significant number of our mathematically advanced students take out of grade level assessments this year. And that means that we had 6th graders that were taking 8th grade math. We had 7th and 8th graders taking Algebra 1. A significant number of our 3rd graders, our 3rd grade math as a whole was 6% above the state results. In fourth, fifth, and eighth grade, we were equal to or within 1% of the state. In sixth and seventh, we did fall a little bit short, and it's definitely an area for us to focus our efforts on increasing student achievement. In Star 3 through 8, Science and Social Studies, our fifth grade science is above the state and the region. Our seventh grade science is 7% above the state average and 9% above the region. Our eighth grade social studies, we were 10% above the state average and 15% above the regional average. Definitely doing some good work in those subject areas. The next chart that you see here, these are our end of course assessments. And of course you remember that the end of course assessments are the 5 tests that our students must pass in order to be eligible for graduation and to receive their diploma. All 100% of our Algebra 1 students who were in 7th and 8th grade at both middle schools received passing scores. Many of them also met and mastered. In Algebra 1, Canutillo as a whole is far outperforming the region and the state. In our other areas, we remain competitive. English 2, we were within 1% of the region. In English 1, we were higher, 5% higher than the region. In U.S. history, we are 4 and 3% higher than the state and the region. In biology, we remained above the region and the state as well. So we are definitely doing some good stuff in those classes. Next slide. The other state assessment that we also look at is we look at our Telepath Assessment, which is the Texas English Language Proficiency Assessment System. This is a composite summary of how the students we have within our district who are learning English, how they are performing when we test them in their ability to acquire English. It's very hard to compare groups of students when we look at Telepath results, simply because that one group in a district is not going to be similar to another group in a district. But many of our students, we saw them improve at least 1 proficiency level, if not 2 or 3. Students who fall, just to give you a little bit of description, students who fall in the beginning means that they are probably new to learning the English language. They have little or no ability to speak English in academic and social settings. On the other side, our students who are scoring advanced high means that they have the ability to speak using grade level appropriate English with minimal support in academic and social settings. Next slide. Within Canutillo, we also have a very, very small group of students who take our STAR Alternate 2 assessment and the Telepath Alternate Assessment. Those students, our numbers are so small that we often don't even get a average reporting on them because they're such teeny tiny groups. However, all of our students who take alternate assessments participated in their assessment activities in the spring. We show satisfactory progress in grades 3 to 8 reading and math, as well as EOC grade levels. Students are meeting satisfactory levels in their reporting. Students who took Telepath Alt show promising results in English language awareness, imitation, and early independence. We'll get more into detail on our special ed populations and our English language learners when we do our annual board table report in January. Next slide, please. As many of you have probably heard, just a little preview of what's coming in spring of 2023. We do have a newly redesigned STAR test that has reading and writing combined into an RLA assessment, and that is at all grade levels, from grade 3 to English 1 and 2. We also will see new question types, which are more in line with the type of instruction that our students are receiving in the classroom. There are number lines, text entry, graphing, inline choices, drag and drop, multi-select questions. Definitely a different type of assessment than what we've seen in the past. However, we consider it to be better, not harder. Telepath is also going to see some changes with the 2023 testing year. We used to take part of it online, and then some of it was done in writing by hand. This year, all of our Telepath students will take 4 tests divided into 2 assessments, and everything will be online. So one test will be writing and reading, and the other test will be listening and speaking. Finally, parents have access to their children's results through the online parent portal. It is a live link within the parent portal. All they have to do is click on it, and they will be able to see their child's entire state of Texas assessment history. We built that in so that it was easiest for parents to utilize. We also have links to the state assessment website on our website, and there is also texasschools.gov. All parents need to do is type in Canutillo, and they can search information about our letter grade ratings, about our taper reports, and about our instruction. So I know this was kind of quick, but are there any questions about assessment from spring of 2022?
All right, board, any questions?
I just wanna comment on the great work, as we've seen from the numerous of accolades we continue to see, when we start dissecting our data. That's what's important. A bunch of my colleagues, we always say, show me your data and then we'll show you where our priorities are. So, it's obvious that our priorities are with kids, and we're seeing tremendous success. And thank you, Dr. Galavis and the rest of the staff, and make sure you relay that message to our staff, because we are doing some great work in Canada.
Yes, thank you for that, Mr. Rodriguez.
Anybody else? Our students who are part of the product, our student advisory. You guys are doing a good job. That's what they say.
Yes, and thank you, board, for all your support.
Thank you, 100%. Thank you for the great work everybody's doing. Dr. Galavis, thank you very much.
I just have no words to say that otherwise that, I really commend, our teachers, our administration, everybody involved in really, focusing on what we need to do to make sure that our students are, progressing, number one, and 2, that are excelling, and that we are actually doing something positive for them. While I disagree with a lot of the testing that gets done, we have nothing else to do. I wish we could go to the state, goals, like the 30 by 20, right? So hopefully, we can sometime in the future, collectively as a state and also as a district, start focusing more on really more important issues, other than results on these kinds of testing. I'm talking about getting our kids certifications, getting them associate's degrees, credit hours. So I think, a little more rigorous in terms, more opportunities for our kids. So, hopefully, with the work that y'all are doing, we really appreciate you. Thank y'all very much on behalf.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Galavis. All right. Have anybody signed up that wanted to talk on this? No? Okay. I guess this is not for approval, is that right? Dr. Galavis? It is? Is this for approval?
No.
Okay.
It's not for approval,
All right. Okay, then, thank you for the presentation. Nothing but great results, in our district and our kids, so thank y'all very much again. Next agenda item.
Next agenda item is item 9, adjournment. Time is 8:24 p.m.
All right, by unanimous consent of the board, hearing nothing else, we are adjourned.
Mr. Perez,
Have you
Yeah. Good to see you.
I don't know, see, that's the
Good night.
Night. It was good to see you. I was gonna do my new clothes. Cindy Lou.
Hey, Miss Cindy, how are you?
Hi.
I saw your baby at AMS.
Yes, Waldo, yes, he's there.
I veía a tu madre.
Yes.
That's right.
Mhm.
Boy.
Yeah.
Sweet kid.
He is.
Make sure this is Hey, Dad, your hair got a haircut. No. Hey, you do the same. Take care. You look sharp today.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you about the Adidas.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't know they sold. I didn't know they sold those kind of shoes.
Yeah,
I've
man,
never
but
seen like fish. Kind of shoes
the only
I've ever
problem
seen.
it is, they're not leather. And they're really plastic.
Still legit.
They were nice, that's what I said too.
I remember the black suit.
I have some white ones. You might look on the website and take a look. Yeah, that's what I got.
I'm just gonna have my recorder's running, but I mean, the question that I had for you is, I was kind of struck, by your.
Is this on there?
We're not screwing up, I'm just kidding.
Let's go.
Um,